All right. Hey, Gateway students. This is episode 7 of the revamp, the renewal. We don't have a name for it. This is the Gateway Students Podcast. Welcome. Hello, everybody. Hi, Noah.
Hola.
How was your weekend?
It was good.
Yeah?
It was good. I'm trying to remember what I did. Oh, I went to Six Flags.
Okay.
Yeah. Amusement park for those of you who haven't been.
Dallas, San Antonio?
San Antonio.
Oh,
I ain't trying to drive
the best one.
4 hours, whatever. Do you know like the whole why it's called Six Flags Fiesta or Six Flags over Texas?
Because I'm a nerd, yes.
Okay.
But why don't you just tell the kids at home a little bit about? Oh, you don't know why?
Well, I do know, but I can't explain it good enough.
Oh,
so you're the nerd. You're the nerd.
Texas was part of the Louisiana Purchase. So it was owned by France. So one flag.
White flag.
The white flag, yes. Sorry, Adrian. Shout out France. So they were under the French flag. Then they were conquered by Spain. I'm probably mixing up my order of events, but conquered by Spain, so the Spanish flag. And then they were part of Mexico, so that's the third flag. And then they were independent, so that's the fifth or fourth flag. So they're an independent country. Some Texans still argue that we are independent. I don't know. I'm not going to get into that. Texas independence. And then the fifth flag was they were part of the Confederacy during the Civil War. So that's the fifth flag. And then the sixth flag is the American flag. So
there you go.
That's why there's Six Flags.
Look at that.
And roller coasters and corn dogs and
it's perfect.
Funnel cake.
It's perfect. It's American is what it is. My favorite thing to get out of an amusement park. Take a guess. Just take a guess. It's sweet. I'll say that. That's a hint.
You're probably like a cotton candy person.
It's a good guess. No. I feel like maybe I used to be. Funnel cakes. Why
do they call it a funnel cake, though?
Loaded
it
funnel
doesn't
cake.
quite...
We're American. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't look like a funnel.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
What matters is that it's good. It's heaven on a plate, especially a loaded one. You get all sorts. You put some strawberries on there, some Hershey's syrup.
Did you have one before you came in today?
No, but it feels like it. I'm just excited to be here. That's what it is.
I'm excited too. I think, after doing so many sessions, like, as you guys know, like, as you guys have probably been able to see, we try to do 2 each time, just to make sure that we have, we get all of our thoughts out, but also like what we've prepared. Matt crushed it last week.
Yes.
Kind of threw a curveball at him about, some like manifesting and stuff like that, which I thought he crushed it. Like, shout out Matt. He's great. But yeah, it kind of brought up this idea of like your personal faith journey and story. And like, we've shared a little bit about kind of how we were raised in our faith journeys, but like oftentimes I feel like we get obsessed with story, or we get obsessed in talking about like different things, like parts of our lives with the Lord, where it almost like becomes segmented, where it's like, yes, I have my church time. I have my personal time with Jesus. I have my youth group time or student ministry time. I have my serving time. And it's like, we have our faith is like segmented in all these different sections, but it like doesn't carry over into our lives, or when it does, it's more of like a statement versus like a lifestyle. So that's kind of what we're getting into today.
Well,
I have the hiccups.
You're good. Wait for the mic. While he's hiccuping, what you're saying brought up, like, even so before I took this role of residency, I was worried that taking this as a job, because before this I was just serving as a volunteer, loved what I did, serving in students and kind of all of these different areas of the church. What I was worried about was that it was going to feel like a job, and that I was going to kind of separate like my faith journey from me just doing this job, or me having to do these things. Obviously, for most of you, that's not something you'll face, right now in middle or high school. But just going back to that segmented thing, like, when you guys come on a Wednesday or Sunday night or like whatever, it's not just those 3 hours. You're not just a Christian for those, or 2 hours or whatever it is. It's your faith follows into the whole rest of your week and all the other parts of your life, your family, your friends that are outside of the church group, even the job. Like, some of you now are getting jobs, so like it's all one. It's all one wherever you are. Like, you carry your own faith into all areas of your life.
Yeah, there was shout out Haley Carter. She preached yesterday. Well, at the time of recording yesterday. And she was talking a lot about like embodying your faith. She really boiled down to like representing Christ and how like somebody came to him and was like, hey, what's the greatest commandment? And she made a point, like at that time, the Pharisees and Sadducees and religious structure had set up like over 1,000 commandments or 1,000 rules around like what started, which was 10 commandments and then the law in the Torah. And so they had all these rules and they're like, all right, Jesus, you claim to be a rabbi. You claim to be a pretty cool guy. What do you got to say? What's the best one? And he's like, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind. Love your neighbor as yourself. Loving God and loving others. And he's like, all of that kind of like wraps around the rest of the law, or the rest of like, we know the law is like the 10 commandments and then a couple of other things, but it's kind of like, he's saying your whole life of following me or being devoted to me and God is set as this like, love the Lord your God, with all your heart, soul, and mind, loving God, and then loving others. That is not just a like, it's easy to love others when you're like in an environment where it's like, yeah, we're all here. We're all united. We're all singing the same songs. Yeah. We're having communion together, or we're serving together, or we're, going to camp together, and we're all in the same bus and it's rowdy and the middle school boys smelling kind of weird, but like, that's just how it goes. And like, we're all together. It's easy to love these people.
Yeah.
But like, Jesus didn't say just love God and love others when you're around the people that you like, or when it's easy.
Yeah.
When community comes naturally, it's like rather all the time. So yeah, I think we had a couple of kind of questions that kind of kick things off a little bit.
Yeah, I think the main thing to start with was why do you think say a lot of people, we won't say students specifically, why do you think a lot of people treat their relationship as God as just a me and God thing, not a public thing or involving or inviting others into it, but just a me and God thing?
I mean, I don't have the mindset of everybody. Obviously, I'm one person. I'm not AI or anything like that. But I think we've been sold a version of Christianity in the last, I would say like maybe 50, 60 years, where it's so devoted to personal, like, or the attention is given to personal devotion. Like, you want to grow closer in your relationship with God? Read your Bible and pray. Okay, cool. Yeah. Yes, spiritual discipline, super important and is valid. But like, that was also an answer to more rigid, what we would call maybe more rigid types of church, where it's like you have your, your order of service, you have your lecture or your teaching from the pastor, and then you have this, and you're like involved in this service and that service, and you're doing all these things. So the response was like, okay, yeah, your faith is great and service is great, but like also like you can have a personal relationship with God, which I 100% validate. I think you totally can, but the focus then becomes like more about yourself and what it means for you. And then you start to have an individualized thing, and like students understand we don't have an individualized faith. Like, we are part of a global faith, multicultural, multi-ethnic, multi-generational, multi-everything kind of faith. And there's a lot of different perspectives. And it's like we're unified in Christ because everybody is following the same commandments of God, loving others. And so when we individualize it, then it becomes really dangerous because we make it all about us. So we center ourselves in that equation to where it's more like loving God and loving myself.
Yeah.
And yeah, we can spin off on self-care and all of that, like where it's like a good thing to have a personal relationship with God and to build things in your life for that, but like build disciplines in your life for that, but it's not the only part and it's not the only point.
Yeah, I think and like our episode last time with Matt talking about manifestation, part of one of our main points was like the whole manifestation thing focuses on self, putting faith in self. And now hearing you say that, I think it's interesting to see, like, I think that idea has kind of trickled over into the new age kind of Christianity where we're seeing a little bit of that, just like you were talking about. Like there's like this new thing where it's my faith. It's my faith. And it's still like kind of centered back to self. And that's because of the self-help stuff. That's just because of social media saying it's me, me, me. There's nobody else. I don't need anybody else. So it kind of, I think, has trickled over into faith as well. So it's interesting hearing you say that because I didn't make that correlation before.
Something we said in the car ride over here was like something about like personal but not private.
Yeah.
And like we kind of were riffing on that a little bit.
Yeah.
So like
our relationship with Jesus is personal but never private.
Yeah. I think that's a good it's a good direction of a statement, but it's a little too black and white because actually like Jesus did talk about like a private way to pray because he was contrasting it with like some of the leaders. They would be in the temple and he told a parable of like how there was this Pharisee and he was like, oh, I am so great. I serve in the temple. I'm one of the most educated, whatever. Like he's kind of going on and on.
Very humble guy.
Yeah, really humble. Probably the most humble, he would say. And then he's like, thank God I'm not like this sinner, this tax collector over here. And he like implies in the story that he like motions over to this dude standing in the corner praying. And like Jesus is like, don't be like that guy. Instead, be like this man in the corner who's like not public. He's kind of like downcast, kind of in his like, Lord, have mercy on me, for I'm a sinner. And he's like, that approach to God is like, not that we just come to him like, oh, I messed up again, God. I messed up again. But rather, it's an invitation to personal. So he's like personal there. And then in another part, he talks about how you need to go, instead of praying out loud where others can see you and your good works, like you should go to the private place. You should go into the inner parts of your house and kneel down, close the door, kneel down and pray before your Father who sees you. And so it's like there is a private element of our faith that's important, but the public side of our faith and in the personal relationship part of our faith can actually go to serve others. Yeah. And so I think like we have to get down to it. Like our faith is for the sake of others as well. It's not just for our sake. It's not just this like escape hell card, go to heaven for free kind of card that we carry around, but rather it is for the sake of others.
Yeah. We don't become Jesus followers to then keep it to ourselves.
Right.
We're Jesus followers to then grow the kingdom and create disciples.
Yeah. So we're like,
that's the whole thing.
We're definitely up here talking about this. So like, let's bring it down personal or practical to the student that's watching this. So, 8th grade, Jimmy going into his last year of middle school, like, let's get to the point. What would you say to Jimmy when he's like, yeah, I have my personal relationship with God, but like, I don't really talk about it. I don't really like, how do I live this out every day? Like, how do I love God, love others? Like, big questions, but
it's a big question.
What would you say to Jimmy?
Well, there's a lot of Jimmys out there. Just making
Sorry,
another
James.
Oh, okay. Yeah. There's oh, that's funny.
Yeah,
that's funny. There's a lot of James out there. No, but
Jameses.
There's a lot of Jameses out there. Okay, all right. We're regrouping, guys. We're getting serious.
Lock in.
We're locking in. Okay. Here's what I was trying to say. Yes, it's easy, especially in school, where it feels like a big risk for you to say that because you feel like you're going to get judged. And I think more than anything, that's the enemy trying to get into your head, stopping you from sharing it with others. Because the reality is, and I think we talked about this in another one of our episodes, but it doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be complicated sharing your faith. Recently went on a mission trip to the Caribbean, and the whole thing was just sharing the gospel with others. Now, again, in the Caribbean, different culture, blah, blah, blah. We're going to people's houses. Okay. So the church workers in the area had kind of set up appointments with these people. I'm pretty sure they didn't even really tell them what we were coming to share. It was just some Americans want to, they're going to be in town, want you to meet
them.
Enticing. And they love that idea. They're like, oh yeah, I'd love to meet some Americans. Like, I don't know. It's a cool thing. It's kind of weird to think about, but they were like really into the idea of just meeting us.
Yeah.
So friendly, invited us into their homes, blah, blah, blah. And the prep that we had going into this on how to share the gospel was simply telling people about Jesus and what he did. Yeah. Hey, like, and that's all it was. So that whole, we were there for 4 days. We hit up we were in different teams, but like I did 4 houses in the morning, 4 houses in the afternoon. So around 8 houses a day. We talked to over 300 people. I forget the actual statistics, but I think it was like 312 people, and 250 people said yes to Jesus.
It's crazy.
Different culture, didn't know these people. They weren't my friends. I had every reason to be scared and back out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know these people. I didn't even speak the language. We had translators to do this for us. So then there's the opportunity for me to get in my head, oh, what if I don't say this right? It's not about that.
Yeah.
How are you reflecting Jesus in your friend groups? How are you showing up on your team, your sports team? Like, how are you treating others? And sometimes, yes, you don't have to be loud and saying, I'm a Jesus follower, look at me, you should follow Jesus. But sometimes it really is just about your actions and the simple, hey, the invitational, inviting them into your own journey.
It's so much less than like performative either. It's not just like,
yes,
I always rag on the people that like, you know, have a cross in their Instagram bio, but like you can see the type of stuff they like or follow, or like even like there was a trend going around and it was really sad, but it was like, I think it was like hater or Christian or something like that. And it was like, they'd find like a reel, something maybe a little cringy or whatever, or just any reel. And they'd like screen record, and the first hate comment that they'd see, they'd like hater or Christian. And like, they'd click on the profile and like almost every time it was somebody with a Bible verse in their bio with a cross like emoji or whatever. Yeah. And like, just living every day for him kind of thought. And it's like, I'm not ragging that. You could be public about your faith. Certainly. Like I have a cross in my bio. Like I post and repost Christian content a lot, but it's not about the performance. It's like, how are you showing up? How are you being respectful to your parents at home? How are you being respectful to your friends' parents, even when they, you know, might do something that you disagree with? How do you respect people who disagree with you in an argument, you know, or maybe just walking away? How do you stand up for people that are getting, you know, made fun of, or like, how do you join in on joking with your friends in a way that is like actually humorous and not, you know, being super mean? And it's like, it's simple, but it's actually really difficult because it causes you and it requires of you to have a conscience or a conscious mindset of like all the time, like, am I representing Christ? Am I representing Christ? Am I living out my faith today for the sake of others? How am I serving my coach by helping them carry, you know, extra stuff to their car after practice? Like they're giving their time oftentimes. How do I, you know, help out a teacher when I go out to dinner after church? Like, it's obvious, like we're Christians because it's all on our t-shirts. We're wearing Gateway Students merch, or we're wearing other merch. Like, how are we, you know, making sure that our table's clean after? It's just like simple stuff, but it's like living your life in a way that like your actions and your words reflect what Jesus said. Yeah. Which is, are you loving God? Are you loving others? And like understanding that your faith is personal and public, and it should also be that which it represents and reflects who he is. Yeah. So,
what you just said made me think. We've been doing our student takeovers kind of over the summer. So after Wednesday services, we'll go and take over a fast food place like Whataburger or Raising Cane's, whatever. And we were there last Wednesday at Cane's, and we had like almost every student show up. It was crazy. We had definitely at least 50 students show up at that Cane's. And when I was leaving, because, you know, I was pretty much one of the last ones to leave, you know, part of it is hard. You got 50 middle and high school students. It's hard not to make a mess. Some of you make a huge mess just by yourself solo. So to think of
just
50
hanging
of you,
out.
Yeah, just hanging out. So like, look at your rooms. Right?
No.
Don't. But anyways, it just made me think like how do we leave the space afterwards?
Yeah.
So actually, we're doing that again this Wednesday. That's something I definitely want to emphasize because, you know, I called ahead, said, hey, we're a youth group. we're coming, heads up, it's going to be a little nuts.
Yeah. That manager you talked to came up to me afterwards and he said, thank you for the heads up. We appreciate it. You guys just didn't show up. And he's like, this place has never looked so great after a group. And I'm like, so I say all these things like kind of sounding like I'm ragging on them. No, like shout out Gateway Students North. Like you guys crushed Canes, like literally, like I've never seen so many chicken tenders in my life, but like they were prepared. The workers were cool. Like they were excited to have us there. And like the guy gave me 2 coupons for box combos. So I gave them to some students, but he's like, are you Noah? I'm like, no, that's my resident. He's like, thank you for calling ahead. He's like, that really, people don't do that. So he's like, what group are you guys with? And so I was able to like invite him to church and like, it just pays to be nice to people. Yeah. And it was also a witness of like,
exactly,
those Christian kids were cool. Like they're not just, they weren't just like everybody else, so.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool. But that's exactly what I'm saying. That's the point. It is how you show up in every environment, not just on a Wednesday night, not just in your student group. How do you show up? How are you reflecting Jesus?
It's good.
So
cool. I think we've exhausted this as much as we can. If you've watched this long, thank you for being here, sticking it out. Shout out Raising Canes on Lakeline.
Yes, sir.
And 183. Goated, I guess. I
pull up.
Yeah. I like ragging on Canes, but my chicken tenders are actually pretty good.
It's my favorite.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us. Episode 7. And we will see you guys on the next one.